Thank you.
We might have a few more people come in. Derek's joining us. But Barbara, if you want to start the meeting, please.
I would be delighted. As you know, this is a somber moment for all of us. Even though yesterday, Mother's Day, was a joyful meeting for me. I got to be with my, day before yesterday, Sunday, I got to be with my granddaughters up north, and I missed a few of the important emails that came to me, and I apologize if I didn't get back to you. I decided to take a day off to just be grateful that I have granddaughters, and be grateful that I have a place that I can call home and I can visit their home. And I was so grateful that COVID, I was under the impression that the people I met, we even went out to dinner one time. That's the first time we've been out to eat in 16 months because we didn't trust anything out there that was going to make us sick, and we needed to be here to work for peace. As I said to my granddaughters, I said, you don't know how lucky you are that you are able to be in a country that's not at war, and war begins with each of us, and we have to bring the peace to bring to the war. So with that, I say tonight's a historic night. You are welcome to the Rotary E-Club of World Peace. We're approaching the 100 members that I hope we would have when my tour is over. And I'm so delighted because David is going to take on the role of being president of the Rotary E-Club. It is just an honor to welcome all of you tonight. And remember that peace begins with each of us. And as I say that, I'm turning this over to Rudy. Rudy, would you bring in our meeting tonight?
Thank you very much. Glad to do that.
Thank you.
And I'll introduce our guests here shortly when we're able to get started here. And I wanted to relate to Vicki and Larry. Our club started, you want to mute yourself, please? Our club started in 2016. In June, after the Rotary World Peace Conference, the Presidential Peace Conference we put on in Ontario, California. And we brought in the peacemakers who were speakers at the peace conference into this club and started this club. So it's a club of peace builders in their own right. And our club this year probably is the largest, fastest growing club in the zone. We have picked up 25 new members this year, and we'll probably pick up 30 by the end of June, and just continues to grow peacemakers. And so we're glad to be that you're with us tonight and be able to share with us. And where our members are across the United States and Canada, and you'll see Catherine wave your hand here. Catherine's down in Australia. We have a member in Haiti. We're scattered around the world here. Mark is joining us from Israel. We also have a member from Jordan. And so we're covering the planet here in a variety of ways and trying to create peace in our own way here in a number of ways. I did want to mention that not only was Sunday Mother's Day, but we're meeting once a month with different Rotary clubs in Vladivostok and St. Petersburg. Over there. And so our Rotary family over there celebrated Victory Day against fascism that happened, and in their celebration during that time. We do pray for the calm to be restored in Israel, in Palestine, in that area, and nobody else gets hurt or loss of life over there. And Mark, our prayers are with you and all of our friends in Israel that this can come to a quick conclusion here.
Thank you.
And I did want to mention also that Thursday night, 6 o'clock, same Zoom channel, we have our fireside chat. We'll get to know each other a little better and get together. Tonight, Barbara has been mentioning it's a historic night for the club. We are going to vote on a resolution that David's going to mention here shortly. We're going to vote on it as it's written. We will at some later time here come together as a group for those of us that would like to and create some additional statements that our club might be able to support around the peace arena. So I think that's important for us to look at what are those things that we want to stand for and could support in these areas. So David, do you have a motion to make?
I do have a motion to make. And before I do, just to give a reflection on the dynamic peace builders that we have as members here, and that's the attraction people coming in. And our Rotary Foundation co-chair, Asha Ashokan, has written an article which is published in the Princeton University Journal of Public and International Affairs about the armed conflict in with the child soldiers, and it's just a dynamic, a very important article. So that's an example of speaking out into the world. The resolution I want to bring for a vote, and this is a resolution that was crafted by Dennis Wong, another significant generative peace builder. And this is a request for the Rotary International Board to develop a Rotary Declaration for a world free of nuclear weapons. This was sent out to our membership, and we're not going to be into discussion, but we're going to have a vote for this. So just a straight on vote. All those in favor?
Wait. I second the motion.
Thank you very much. Second, yes. I got excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you, Jack. So this is a resolution that is written and is going to go on to the Rotary International Board for consideration to be a declaration that becomes part of Rotary. So I would say all those in favor of passage of this resolution, please raise your hands. Great. All those, any opposed?
One reason.
It is passed by a great margin. Thank you very much. This is a significant moment. This is what the Rotary Club of World Peace does. This helps to move the thinking and behaviors towards peace. Thank you.
It's a historic vote and it's a historic night. And I thank you, Dennis, so much for holding that banner. And the UN has a treaty now for the UN proliferation, what is it called? Prohibiting nuclear weapons. And I just think that we're on a path that needs to come forth and be mentioned by Rotary. Thank you, board, and thank you, people.
Well, tonight we're very honored to have with us two very great Rotarians with us tonight. And we have with us our Rotary National Director-elect for our zones here on the West Coast, Zone 26 and 27, Vicki Puliz. She is a member of the Sparks, Nevada Rotary Club, and she joined Rotary back in 1992. And she certainly served in many ways there. Her why is she in Rotary? To make a positive difference. And she has all the time that she's been in Rotary, and she's going to be a terrific director coming in with us. And I know she's got a lot to share with us tonight about some of her thoughts and ideas in moving forward. And she invited to join her tonight Larry Lunsford. Larry is from Kansas City, and he's a past director. He's also an incoming Rotary Foundation trustee. So congratulations, Larry, for that. You might have met Larry and his wife, who were aides to President Mark Maloney and his wife, Gay. And so that's quite an honor to have been selected for that. And I know they were a great foursome together in making a difference in the world. He is also chair of the Rotary Peace Centers Committee, and he's in his third year as a member of the Shaping Rotary's Future Committee of Rotary International. And we're just excited to have both of them with us tonight to share with us their thoughts and what's going on in Rotary. And then as we get to some question parts at the end, if you would put those in the chats, we'll try to control those as we move forward here. So Vicki, if you would take over, please.
Sure. Thank you so much, Rudy. It's so good to see you and Karen and all of the other members of the E-Club of World Peace. What an honor to be with you tonight. And what a momentous occasion to be here as you pass your resolution that I should be seeing at the board table in the near future. So thank you for allowing me to be part of that. So Rudy, you took part of my, the questions I had. I wanted to compliment you on being at the forefront of what we see in Rotary as a movement of cause-based clubs, and also certainly early adopters of a virtual environment for meetings that allowed you a reach throughout the world and to be able to bring people together. And the figures I saw were about 40% growth in this year, which is incredible, especially in our part of the world in North America. And so if we have time, I would really like to talk with you and hear more about your story and your success and how you were able to leverage your personal passion with others to bring value to your members, to be part of Rotary, to be part of this organization and part of moving the world towards a more peaceful place. So if we have time, I'd like to do kind of a little reverse speaker if we could, and I'll ask you questions and hear from you. I did bring Larry. I wanted to share my friend Larry, and Larry's a relatively new friend of mine, but he'll be working with us in our zones as a resource and support with our connection to the Rotary Foundation. But his great experience and being part of the Peace Center committee, I thought there would be so much that he could share and that you'd really appreciate meeting him and also hearing his up-to-date information. So if it's okay, I'll turn it over to you, Larry, to get your comments, and then maybe we'll circle back again.
All right, nothing like a good plan. And I appreciate that, Vicki, and it's been fun to get to know Vicki. As she mentioned, we've been working more together recently. One of the things that's happened just in the last year or so has been a little bit more formal connection made between directors and trustees in leading particular zone pairings around the world. So each of you on this in this club meeting tonight would experience that at some level with your director and a particular trustee assigned to a particular area. And so that's primarily what recently has connected Vicki and I, and I've been enjoying getting a chance to meet the Rotary leaders in zones 26 and 27. I do come to you tonight from Kansas City and share the greetings from the Midwestern part of the United States. And it's just an honor to join peacemakers and peace builders, as you've mentioned yourselves to be. I'm impressed by this club. It's kind of a new experience for me. It's expanding my horizons, and I'm confident that it does that for each of you each time you meet, I'm sure. Also nice to be a part of this historic vote tonight. And I also want to reinforce, I guess would be the right word, the sentiments that Rudy mentioned for Mark Zober and anyone else who is in that part of the world right now in terms of the things that being dealt with there. So I just thought I would take just a moment to maybe speak about 3 or 4 bullet points about one of the ways that our organization does attempt to make sustainable peace and bring about sustainable peace. And that's our fantastic 20-year-old Rotary Peace Centers program. I'm confident that this is probably a fairly well-educated group about this, so I'll try to tailor my comments accordingly. But those of you that have followed it would know that there was probably a time in the 1990s, and maybe even before that, where Rotary was actually considering building a peace university, buildings and 4 walls and that sort of thing. And over time, into the late 90s, decided that it might be better to partner with great universities around the world who were in that business. And so, of course, that's what we've done. There are a couple of Rotary and Rotary Foundation committees that help shape the course of the Rotary Peace Centers program with the staff in Evanston. As Vicki mentioned, I'm currently honored to be the chair of the Rotary Peace Centers Committee. This is my 2nd year on the committee and would have had 1 more year of a 3-year term, but as Rudy mentioned, I have the honor of being named as an incoming trustee. And so fortunately, I'm going to be a liaison trustee to that committee next year. So I'm going to be able to stay close to that work, which really excites me. And in addition to that Rotary Peace Centers committee, there's also a Rotary Foundation Major Gifts Initiative, MGI committee, that one of your club members, I think Peggy Aseo, of course, works with and shepherds and leads and does such a great job. So the combination of those two committees try to take leadership at the Rotary International level to help execute our Rotary Peace Centers program. I'm confident that you're familiar that we have for many years had what has remained as 5 master's degree program sites around the world. One in Japan at International Christian University, one in Queensland, Australia, the University of Queensland in Brisbane, one at Bradford University in England, one site at Uppsala University in Sweden, and a joint program at Duke and the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill in the United States. So we've had those programs for some time. What I'd like to make sure you're aware of is that really through this decade, between 2020 and 2030, Rotary Foundation has a goal of expanding by 4 new regional certificate programs. If you're not aware, we have had one of those certificate programs for a number of years at Chulalongkorn University in Bangkok, Thailand. And these regional centers are viewed as the growth opportunity of the Peace Centers program. And the Rotary Foundation trustees want to grow this program. And so recently we've been able to do that. We just started with scholars for the first time in February, a new certificate program at Makerere University in Kampala, Uganda. And we're so excited about that. In fact, that particular program has been able to have some in-person attendees. And I probably should make mention that while we've all had to be dealing over the past 15 months with the pandemic, many of Rotary's programs turning to virtual and many of them slowing down, but the Peace Centers programs at these various universities that I've mentioned have maintained their programs, even though they've had to do it virtually. And we're proud of the fact that they've been able to maintain. And in the new academic years, they've had to start virtually in many cases. But this new center in Uganda has fortunately been able to have some in-person. So that's our second certificate program. And it's exciting as well that the work of Peggy Aseo and the Major Gifts Initiative Committee. I feel confident you've heard this news, but if not, there's been what amounts to the second largest gift ever given to the Rotary Foundation in the last few months, a commitment made of $15.5 million from the Otto and Fran Walter Foundation, which is based in Maine. And I mentioned this Peace Major Gifts Initiative Committee. The chair of that committee right now is another one of our peace building colleagues. Her name is Marty Hellman, and she's in Maine, and she is a part of the leadership of the Otto and Fran Walter Foundation. And so that committee, and Marty particularly working with Peggy and others, have enabled this $15.5 million commitment to build, to create and select a new Rotary Peace Center certificate program in the Middle East or North Africa. And so I wanted to be sure to reinforce, if you already knew that, or inform you if you did not, because as we speak about what's going on in the world right now, and someone mentioned as that was being brought up first in the early stages of the call that we just need a solution. And I hope that it's very heartwarming for each of you and very inspiring and gives you great pride to know that soon, due to some tremendous philanthropic generosity, we will be focused on putting a Rotary Peace Center in the Middle East or North Africa to try to be a small part to providing a solution. And so that's the newest exciting news in terms of that growth plan that I mentioned over this decade. And so we hope I know that Mark Zober and I have actually had some email dialogue, and it's great to see Mark's face this evening. And so we, at the moment that the gift actually comes in, the largest portion of that commitment comes in 2025. So there'll be over the next couple of 3 years, a selection process, a determination made of the university partner that we'll have in the Middle East or North Africa, and hoping to kick that program off in January of 2026. Now, obviously, we'll probably have a lot of time of being impatient if that really is the time frame that we want, because we want to get this up and going as soon as we can. And so it'll be a measured approach, but it'll be exciting to then add that program as the third certificate program and then hopefully there'll be another by 2030. So it's nice to have that growth plan. It speaks well to the program. It speaks that the program is solid. It speaks to the program is growing, and then we're actually gaining traction in these parts of the world where we would like to have these regional centers. So I find that to be some great news that I'm happy to reinforce or share for the first time with you, depending upon your perspective on that. I'm going to mention one other thing, and then maybe turn it back to Vicki and be happy to respond to some questions. But I wanted to speak about the selection process and the investment that the Rotary Foundation, your Rotary Foundation, makes to this program. And each year, now that we have the 5 master's degree programs, 2-year programs, and now we have 2 of these regional certificate programs, as I mentioned, the one in Chulalongkorn in Thailand and the new one in Uganda. The goal is to select 10 scholars each year for each of those 5 master's programs. So 50 master's degree candidates selected each year, and to select in 2 different cohorts, 40 scholars for each of those 2 certificate programs, one in Thailand, one in Uganda. So I'm a CPA. I don't mean to bring too many numbers to you right now, but that all adds up to 130 Peace Fellows being selected every year. And that's part of what the Major Gifts Initiative Committee is inspired to raise the funds for this program. And the Rotary Peace Centers Committee that I chair this year is primarily charged with making the selection of those scholars. And so we are in that application process right now. I hope that you know that. And that will end in May. And then coming in September, after some vetting and some determination, and some of you may even be Rotary readers in this program and read these applications, will lead to a September selection of the next class of Rotary Peace Fellows, which will be the class for 2022, 2023. So we're actively in that application process, actually nearing the end of that application process. And perhaps some of you have even helped mentor some particular Peace Fellow candidates that you found or that you've been put to. The last thing I'll say at the moment is that we've just come off of then the selection last September, right, of the class that will be the 2021-2022 class, some of which, depending upon the part of the world, will start in the fall, hopefully in person, time will tell, and others of which in the Southern Hemisphere would start in the early part of 2022. I wanted to mention that because I wanted to reinforce the application process, but I bring up last year's selection as another way of saying to you how important and how successful and how much of a growth mode we're in right now. We selected the candidates last year. Actually, the trustees in the pandemic asked us to take a 10% cut. So instead of selecting 130 candidates last year, we selected 117. But those 117 candidates, my friends, were selected from over 750 qualified applicants from peace builders around the world. And that's the most competitive selection we've ever had in our 20th year. And we're confident that that's just going to continue. So those 117 fellows that will be in the class of 2021, 2022 represent a $5.3 million investment from our Rotary Foundation. And so I commend each of you that support the Rotary Foundation. And I hope that in these short comments this evening on 3 or 4 bullet points that I've given you a little bit of an update, an up to the minute update, in fact, of how our Rotary Peace Centers are doing, how it looks currently, the selections we're making, a reminder of the universities that we're partnered with, and primarily a look at the growth opportunities both in Uganda and hopefully in the Middle East and North Africa very soon, and other parts around the world. So the Rotary Peace Centers certainly thriving, certainly one of the very great ways that Rotarians are trying to sustain peace and development around the world. Thank you so much.
Rudy, I knew he was the right guy to bring to this meeting.
Excellent, thanks.
I heard Larry speak about the Peace Centers recently, and he had this up-to-date information. When you called me, I'm like, they need to hear him. They need to hear Larry. So.
No, I appreciate that. And actually, Karen is our peace representative for our district, 5330, and she worked with a applicant who was accepted at Bradford this year. So good stuff.
And also Catherine is a reader for the applications for Rotary Peace Fellows. So we have quite a moment when we are all together working for the Peace Centers. And thank you, Larry, for bringing us the new news. It was wonderful.
I think
You're right, Steve.
Dr. Canati is also on that in that group.
Oh,
So
that's right.
we've got a good group here, Vicki.
I know you do. I know you do.
That's good stuff. Could you tell us a little bit on the East Coast? Peter Kyle is coming in, and he's worked now, put together a really aggressive a peace education program with Anna Patel and Patricia Schaefer to educate with big impact in students on the East Coast. But I think you have some things that you're working on and potential summits during the
Yes.
time. Could you
Yes,
talk a little bit about that?
Yes, so for 2022, we're planning 5 or 6 summits, one-day events that would be in person and a virtual component on several topics. Stopping human trafficking, diversity, equity, inclusion, supporting our environment, food insecurity. We may have one other topic. And having all of those, ideally, we would have Peace Fellows involved in each of those, and then bringing them together to for our institute or for a summit at the end that's focused on peace and how all of those things and more support peace. And that would be in November. So the summits would be probably July, August, September, October will be the one-day summits, and then a 2-day super summit focused on peace and featuring our Peace Fellows. So that's what we're looking at. Bev Reed is the chair of that event, and Rudy, I can get you her information if you don't already have it, to see how your club might want to participate or offer support for that. You certainly have all of the people here that could have a huge impact.
I know Bob Deering asked me to be part of the human trafficking summit, so I'd love to learn more because our club could certainly make an impact there. I think we have 5 Peace Fellows in our club. Fergal McCarthy is a member of our club also.
Well, it's
And
interesting. We were looking at one of the summits being peace, and as we were exploring the ideas, it became very obvious that all of those things lead to peace. And so having them culminate in a peace summit felt like the right move there. So I hope that all comes together with the vision that we have for that.
Super. We've got a couple of questions here if you're open to them. Dennis Wong had a question here. I'm not sure anybody has the answer for this, but of Peace Fellows alumni, how many are actually Rotarians now?
I don't have that particular information. Do you, Larry?
I do not off the top of my head. However, I think we would start by saying that the placement of all the alumni we more and more each year, we encourage them to continue to partner with Rotary on peace-related projects. So the engagement of Peace Fellows to Rotary continues at that level, even in the midst of perhaps not as many as we would like actually becoming Rotarians. So I think that brings a good balance to it. I would expect that the percentage that are Rotarians is relatively low and lower than we would like. But I think that that there are a number of ways to engage with Rotary, and that's perhaps as much or even more important.
Larry, I have an idea. You just spark things. Your conversation was so good that you spark us. I was thinking if a Peace Fellow graduates, they should be given 6 months free in any Rotary club they want. And then they'll probably join because, once you get involved with Rotary, you can't help but join. I've been a Rotarian since I was the second woman in Rotary in Hollywood. the Hollywood Rotary Club. So, you know, once you get into it, you see what it's like. That's just an idea, Larry. Put it in your thinking cap.
No, I love it, Madam President. And I have to tell you that it sparks something in me. It reminds me and reminds all of us that, you know, a few years back, maybe it's been more years now, that the years kind of race fast these days. But we established that alumni, foundation alumni is a classification all its own to help the entry point of alumni like Peace Fellows into Rotary. It also reinforces, again, the fact that at some level, they need to be asked, right? And so to the extent that we can provide that bridge, you know, that's an encouragement for us as well. But I like your idea in terms of once they are engaged, I'm going to write that idea down actually. Once they are engaged, is there a way to incent them slightly to really make their glide path even easier? Thank you.
Mhm, mhm. I saw a couple of notes in the chat. The question is, how do we support the Peace Fellows when they finish their program? And I think that's a question for all of us to be thinking about. How do we support and engage them and keep them connected with Rotary after their program?
Bombing in Ashkelon right now.
Oh,
Yeah, one comment I'd make to what Vicky raises is that there has been a higher focus in the last 2 or 3 years, I would suggest, for the alumni of the Peace Center's programs to be a part of an alumni association. And that is gaining great traction. Someone has invested, certainly as a 2-year master's candidate, but all of these people, as you know, are people who are already in the peace and development business anyway, and they're just enhancing their skills through the provisions made by Rotary. And so this Rotary Peace Fellow Alumni Association is gaining a lot of steam. And, you know, in addition, what comes to mind is that I believe I'm accurate on this statistic. We've now gotten over the last 20 years about 1,400 of these alumni who have graduated from these programs. And about 93% of them are working in the fields of peace and development. So as we all continue on this journey, obviously we'll have more and more Rotary Peace Fellows, hopefully more and more of them engaged either in Rotary clubs or with Rotary through projects or through their alumni association. And we just continue to build steam and energy with this program.
Yeah, Bill Rentz is doing a great job, and glad he's a really welcome addition up there, and everything that's happening with the Alumni Association. Scott Martin is in our club, one of our Peace Fellows here, also with MBBI. And Martin, I think, is on the planning committee for this year's Cyber Peace Conference. Martin, are you on?
You wasn't a minute ago.
He was hiding out there. He was at another meeting earlier.
There he is. He's muted.
Martin, could you unmute yourself and make a comment for us, please? He's probably zoomed out today. But I know that they're working on their second Cyber Peace Conference, and we're excited for that. I think he posted in there, it was June 19th is the upcoming date. That's right, Larry, I'm not sure.
I believe that is the right date.
So anyways, we'll keep track of that in the Peace Fellows here. Vicki, what else can you tell us about what's happening as you're excited to come in here as a director?
as we're counting, like, I don't know how many days now. I was counting for a while. I haven't had a chance to count recently. Well, one of the challenges that we face in Rotary, specifically in North America, is the fact that most of our clubs aren't growing like yours. And so I would like to turn to you and say, what are the ways that you get value from being part of Rotary, and how could we leverage that to other clubs beyond this?
The first thing that comes to mind is we have a mission, and we also have a statement that we put at the end of our email signatures that we are a group of active peace builders that support each other, and I'm paraphrasing, but we had a committee that came up with our slogan, that allow people to understand when you came to our Rotary Club, and we open our Rotary Club up to anybody who's not non-members also, because our speakers are so valuable and there's so much value with each speaker. But I think the message that we give is that we are an active group of peacemakers. Like I run Peace Podcasts, I'm president of the United Nations Association. We all are so involved in peace. And so when we get together, we support each other. We hear their programs. Rudy has the website so up to date that we can put our nonprofit work in there, share the work we're doing. But I'm writing my end of the year, my end of my term letter, and I'm saying, we're a family. And this was our breakout year. This was the year where we really took advantage of everybody. And our leadership team is so powerful. Everybody has a job. So whenever you get in Rotary, if you don't give them something to do, they're not going to feel like they're involved. And so you have to figure out how to get the new members involved.
That's
Thank
good.
you,
So
Barbara.
David Wick probably has a comment. Dave, you want to unmute yourself?
Great, yeah, thank you very much, and a delight to spend this time with you. One of the things that I know from hearing from the current president-elect and also president and also incoming Mr. Mehta about change and just saying Rotary is in significant change and it must. And I think that that's part of it is looking around the world. You know, the world is in change. We're all, and so it's really how to help people understand this. Rotary is in evolution, and also what are the guidelines or what are the things that can help that evolution take place? Because I know I attended two meetings earlier today via Zoom. But one was they're talking about, let's go back to our lunches. Let's get back to, and it's kind of like, yeah, that could be nice, but the same old is not going to draw young people. And so that's really a big part of it is what's the energy that's going to draw young people. And frankly, we see that all of the things that Rotary does, the seven focus areas and so on, that's really all peace building. It's all part of peace. It's not separate from, and so that can be help draw people in to say yes, we want to be part of creating a better world in a peace building way. So there's a thought.
Lisa Broderick, you're on here. If you're here, you could unmute yourself.
Hi, I can't be on camera right now, but hello everyone, I'm here.
Yeah, tell us why you've enjoyed or why you're connected here with our Rotary Club and what's it meant to you.
Well, that's what Barbara said, and that is this is a club of action. I'm an action person, and I met other action people. When I ran into you about 3 years ago through a mutual friend, Philip Helmich, I realized that this was a group of people who actually do things. And in my line of work, I'm moving police towards peacefulness. We have to actually do something and not just talk about it. And so while other social approaches and civic groups and other things that people might do, they talk a lot, which is great, but to actually do something and do something meaningfully where people are engaged and they follow up is so important for the work that I do around the nation. And I think it makes the club very vibrant. It makes me send people to it, become members. It makes me want to be in leadership. Everything about it is vibrant. And that vibrance is sort of infectious in the best sense of the word.
Contagious, yes.
The Sharon Tennyson.
Yes.
Sharon, unmute
All
yourself.
those words are not good anymore. Infectious.
I know.
They're all good. Yeah, we can't use infectious today.
Spread goodness.
Sharon,
I know, right?
Sharon's been
Some way that it spreads around.
yeah. Sharon's been doing work over in what was the Soviet Union is now Russia with groups. And Sharon, why is connecting here with our club and in Rotary and your work, even forming Rotary clubs in Russia, has been?
Oh, it's been so wonderful for me to finally find a club that I had where everybody is building peace in one way or another. And I think it would have to be a Zoom club because I've been members of clubs that sit around lunch tables and have Uh, Different types of speakers come, but they're not dynamic. They don't have anything to do with peace. And when I found you all, it's like I found my home because everybody is involved one way or another. My work is with the former Soviet Union. I've been 38 years working with Russia. And you can imagine how disturbed I am right now at what's going on between our two countries. I'd love to talk about it at a Rotary Club someday. I mean, at one of the clubs one of these times, because I'm just, you know, it would be so easy for us to come to a peaceful resolution if we would change our behaviors. And, but meanwhile, the world is suffering because there's a possibility, a good possibility, that nuclear weapons are going to be fired. And nobody is taking this seriously. Not many people are taking this seriously. But so, yeah, it's, I couldn't belong to one of the other clubs now after belonging with this one to this one, because this is such a meaty club and everybody here has got, they're involved in some way. So Vicki, how do we get Rotary clubs to not be the regular ho-hum clubs where they do business and meet once a week? And how do we get them and fired up about being proactive at this peace business? I think it would take a change probably of RI itself, and I think that would be good for the future.
Well, Sharon, I have to say that innovative clubs are springing up all over the place, and they're not all, their cause might not be peace, although I think I agree with what either you said or someone else said, that it all leads to peace. But we have some very active clubs in fighting human trafficking and some other cause-based that are very active, as you know, as you're exhibiting here as well.
Yeah.
So it's really up to what people are looking for. And I think it's just the, I would call it the evolution. The evolution of Rotary is that this is now a different format, and we're not constrained by physical limitations of not being able to connect with other people all over the world. That's one of the strengths of Rotary, isn't it? To be able to connect with like-minded people all over the globe. And then when you bring a cause to the forefront, as your club has, it seems to be a very strong formula. But Sharon, it's up to how other people want to meet and what they want to do as well. So compliments to all of you. You've certainly found the formula that satisfies this group. So congratulations.
And I wonder how Rotary International could begin to move in this direction as a new direction for itself. How it could begin to encourage this kind of thing and show opportunities of what could be happening.
It is happening. It just may be a little slower than some of us would like.
Okay, good. Well, thank you for the opportunity to talk,
Yes,
and welcome back to our club anytime. It would be wonderful if we could get together, maybe half a dozen of us, and just discuss other ways that might work.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rudy.
That would be good. We were one of the theme-based clubs before there were theme-based clubs.
Yes, I was going to say, you were the early adopter, if not the leader in it, Rudy. So yes, this club was.
And Rudy had that 2016 Rotary World Peace Conference, which really got us started, you know.
Kicked it off, yes.
Yeah, he kicked it off. And then you look at this issue of the Rotary magazine. We talk about this. Here we have Warren in our club who has started the cook stoves in Guatemala. So we share the wisdom that we carry with us with members from 6 to 6:30. Then we go to our regular meeting. That's an important time. And
so the question is, how do you do projects in a traditional sense, or do each of you take action in your own arena? So you don't attempt to bring the members together in any sort of a project base. I'm just trying to understand. I'm just curious.
That's the challenging part, is because, and we're still learning this. You know, we've got 300 e-clubs around the world here, and so we're trying to figure this out, because we're one that we don't live in the same towns, and so we're spread all over the world here. And so what we're working at, and then Dave is working on with his group, and started again with Barbara this year with our strategic planning and moving into next year and so forth. Can we have a theme of the month where we had a specific theme we could work on in our local community and report back what we did on that, and or partner with another Rotary club in our local community, and then report back on the impact of that. So it is a learning, I think, this process. It's not all cookie cutter, and we need to learn from each other as to what's going to work best
What
that we
works?
do. But at the same time, we've got people working on projects together. You know, David Wick's got the Culture of Peace up in Ashland that's working here, and Brian Berman, the City of Peace over in Ojai, and you just heard from Lisa Broderick with Police to Peace. Her organization's been working with police departments for quite a while. She's very much in demand right now to work on that community understanding and sharing and bringing the police together with the communities and developing that relationship better and strengthening that. And we've got her now with some ties with IEP in some work with them as well. So we've got a lot of interconnections because many of our members have their own nonprofits and they're coming together, working together. So Joanne Deck here. Joanna, mute yourself. You're a brand new member.
Yes.
Why did you join our club?
Well, Rudy, the truth is, I wanted to join your club a couple of years ago, and I didn't. But things were busy at that time, so I joined now because peace has always been a big issue, and it's very exciting to be with all these other peacemakers, people who have their own nonprofits working in different ways. And I see that there's a way we're all working together, all trying to help each other achieve our goal of world peace. And we all bring a different aspect, a different way to move forward. And everyone is essential in this club. We need everybody and all the efforts.
Thank you,
So-
Joanne. And we invite people. Like I invite my friends at the United Nations Association, Jack Freelander. Why is Jack Freelander a member? Because I kept mentioning at my United Nations Association, oh, you should hear the speakers we have. And Jack said, okay, I want to join. So you have to be the excitement, the enthusiasm for Rotary that Rotary needs. And then it's contagious. And I loved your word. We are contagious.
And I would just say that it's over this next year, as Rudy was saying, we're going to find how best it's really local global, and how do we engage locally with local clubs, and what do we want to do as an e-club on the more of a global scale, on the larger scale. So there's many ways to go, and we're going to find out more this year.
And,
Is
and
there
we are partners on 3 global grants. So we are connected around the world. And
I was going to
so,
ask how, yeah. And how do you have an outward face? Is there anything that, how are you able to do that? You're so diverse geographically. I'm just wondering how that works.
Well, Zoom makes it a lot easier to have an outward face. We invite people who are not members of our club just to join us. Let's suppose I have a topic like, okay, nuclear weapons. We're going to have Joanne Dufour. She's going to speak in June. Well, I tell everybody I know who's interested in nuclear weapons, you don't want to miss this meeting. We kind of cultivate new people through our speakers. And Rudy and Karen, and I have to give Karen an atta girl. This Karen Westerveld, she does a newsletter like you wouldn't believe. I mean, I open it up and I think, how did she do that? The themes that Rotary has, and she puts this newsletter together in such an inviting way. And Rudy sends it out the first of each month. We never miss a deadline. Let's suppose we promise something that we're going to do this. We keep our word. We make the people who are doing the work proud to do the work, and then we honor them for doing it. And I want to thank you, Vicki. You're the first person that's been on our club and said, I want to ask you some questions. What is the secret to success? That's how you find out. That's a revolutionary conversation. You ask, and you ask for help, and you let people know that you're interested. Now, Vicki, we'll share our ideas with you in the future because you care about us. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
That's
It's
good.
truly a privilege to be here with you.
Would it be possible for our club to be the topic for one of the Rotary magazines to say, this is possible, this is what's going on? Join or convert your club to this type of club?
Well,
Is that a crazy idea or is it a good idea?
Good letter to the editor for sure.
I can certainly
share.
I can share my experience with the people who do the magazine at Rotary International. Larry might have even better contacts that you've been involved in a deeper level than I have at this point, Larry. I don't know if you have any other suggestions, but I can certainly share my experience with them and recommend that they reach out to you.
It would be great, because any club that's got as many new members coming in every year as this club does is doing something that needs to be modeled. It needs to be a model for other clubs. So just. Too much
Larry,
said.
did you have something to add?
Yeah,